Yeah. Top morning to you. Let me get my cup here. The star. I got the star, double star on Friday. Top of morning to you, my friend.
I got
Welcome.
nothing. I've got the I've
You
got
get the duck, goose.
mountain on the other side.
Duck, goose. Welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host, Marlon Taylor, aka Mayhem, aka Mr. Disruptive, with his great partner in crime, J.D. Wilson, aka J.D.
Go JD.
Happy Friday, brother.
Thank you. You know, JD actually stands for something.
It can stand for a lot of things.
It stands for Jack Daniels.
Oh, for a lot of people.
Mhm. Well, it kind of applies.
For a lot of people.
Hey, guess what we haven't been doing?
What haven't we been doing?
We haven't been doing any third rails.
Yeah, we have.
Not really. We've just been pontificating and agreeing on everything.
We can agree on third rails and still have a meaningful conversation. We don't have to disagree on the third rail.
That's true, but remember we started off earlier this week and you said all social media is garbage, but we ended up agreeing that a statistically significant percentage is garbage, but just
99.59s.
Yeah. So there was an interesting sequence on Netflix Black Mirror, which I think this entire episode was premised on delivering this line. Are you familiar with Black Mirror?
Negative.
Negatory. Okay. So the first episode is somebody's terrible. I forget her name, which I should have thought about that before bringing it up. Notwithstanding, the basic premise is that a streaming service loosely modeled after Netflix,
Okay.
but not Netflix,
Okay.
has advanced quantum computing to the point where artificial intelligence can follow a person in real time and then simultaneously write the script for and provide the CGI actors for a correlated near real-time depiction of that.
Not going to happen. Not yet.
Not yet, but that's what the basic
But
premise.
we're headed that way.
Right. So I don't have to go through the entire thing. It was like a 20-minute episode. And toward the end of the episode, our hero, who has realized that her life is being ruined by this, actually breaches this streaming service and is on the verge of destroying the quantum computer that was generating this near real-time simulation of her life and making it look really bad, obviously. Okay. So there's a point at which she's doing a monologue with the CEO of the streaming company, and she poses the question, okay, so you're doing this, why do you have to make it so mean and so bad? Why can't you actually incorporate some of the good things about people's lives? And the CEO responds with, quote, "We tried that, nobody was interested," unquote. So that was really kind of the fulcrum of the entire episode, was that specific line, which is, there really isn't a reliable market for the absence of conflict or building up the person who's watching by denigrating the person who's being depicted.
Garbage sells.
That is to me the social media phenomena.
Garbage sells.
Well, I think a lot of it is, if you're not actually setting out to learn, or you're not setting out to inform, you're like, okay, what's going to make me feel good? And anytime you feel smarter than the person being depicted,
you're being over analytical. Garbage sells.
Well, cats sell as well.
Who?
Puppies, kitties, and I've also discovered baby goats. Baby goats. I found a baby goat episode. I sent it to
those are they don't sell. Those are timeline cleansers. I'll give you that. They are cleansers, but they
That
don't.
was really good. I like the phraseology you just used.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they do get wide distribution, and you're saying they're like,
They don't sell.
they're like,
Garbage sells. How many cat ghost story or goat stories do you see on mainstream media broadcasts? None.
none.
How
Well,
much of
occasionally you'll tune into a morning show and
how much of the orange moron do you see on mainstream media coverage? Tons.
unending, absolutely unending.
There you go.
I had something come to me this morning. I think that phrase "permanent white majority" needs to be inscripted. I think that
What
needs
phrase?
to be kept center.
What
Pardon me?
phrase? What phrase?
Permanent white majority. My thesis on a lot of our conversations, as you may recall, has been that the primary value derived from what's going on is exposition, right? So
Right. Right.
That's not a new subject.
Right.
And increasingly, Republicans are becoming transparent. In other words, they're see-through.
Okay.
You had a period of time where they were moderately opaque because you're like, oh, they want to save money, or oh, they're conservatives, or
That was the Reagan era. That's over.
right, they're trying to make things more efficient, and it
That's
involves
over. That's long over. Long in
So-
the rearview mirror.
this exposition seems to be going into next level, and you're able to see through them, and in there you see like a subtitle on a video or something. It says permanent white majority. And I really think that is becoming increasingly clear. And the thing that struck me this morning,
If it's not clear, you're not paying attention.
truly said. But did you happen to see where the Democratic senator? Yeah, I think it was a senator asked the chair to tell the Republican commentator to shut the fuck up. He didn't say the fuck.
I
He just said,
think I
"Shut up."
heard about that. I didn't see it.
All right. So what was transparent about that, and what was an exposition, was that the Republican heckler was speaking out of turn, and he said, he challenged him. He said, "Are you impugning the honor and integrity of your fellow senators?" And the response was, "Mr. Chair, could you please tell this person to shut the fuck up?" And what I liked about that is that it used to be that if somebody said, "Are you trying to impugn my character?" Democrats would go, "No." In other words, the sense of decency that was driving them on multiple issues would also modify their response to an individual. So that has been abandoned now, because Republicans are becoming transparent, which is when you pose that question about integrity, it's not, you understand as well as we do that you're completely lacking integrity. It's just a word game. So shut the fuck up. And it was interesting because I was talking to somebody last night at the pool. Am I okay to keep going? Am I
Yes, you
making
are.
sense so far? Okay.
Yes,
So
you
I was
are.
talking to somebody last night at the pool. A person that I met on the voting line,
Okay. Yeah.
voting, and she was helping Democrats understand what the issues were. And there was another person there who was also
We know what the issue is.
right. But what's interesting is there was a person of an ethnic person who was running, and most of the progressives that I talked to wanted us to vote for him and not for the white dude who was already in that position. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
All right. So she approached me and I said, "This is who I'm voting for." I had a list. And the other guy approached me and he brought, essentially, although he was a Democrat, he wanted a specific individual. And this was an individual who had voted, a Democrat who had voted against an assault weapons ban or an assault weapons regulation.
Okay,
Are you with me so far?
I'm with you.
So this is in the land of Democrats, but there was a Democrat there who was championing another Democrat who did not support gun legislation. They exist.
Okay, all right,
Like a reasonable Republican, you can have an unreasonable Democrat.
okay.
I was talking to this woman last night about that sequence of events, and she said, you know, on reflection, I should have said something to him because he kept coming into my physical space and he would segue into my conversations. And I reflected on it and I should have said something. So I think this is a process that everybody goes through about when do you make your comment? Do you make it early or late? And I think we've been doing it late and it's moved back across the timeline. And now we're like, I see you coming. I see you coming. I'm not going to wait until you prove that you're
We already know what they are.
Exactly. And I think I think a big change is it's being called out at the front instead of after waiting for them to do their damage. So let me tell you how this would manifest. Trump would never have gone on CNN as an example. That would be Chris Licht is gone, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that would be whatever management comes in saying, we don't need to put him on to understand just how bad this is going to be and what our contribution will be to advancing this narrative, this lie. We're not going to have him on.
That assumes there is a degree of decency in that decision-making process, and there is not, because
Well,
this
it was
is not
lacking
about,
last time. Last
is-
time it was done specifically to get eyeballs, and I'm
Yes.
not going to challenge
and
that.
what's changed?
That was successful.
What's changed?
This is what I'm asking. I'm hoping that a lot of these things are moving to the front.
You are Mr. Glass half full. I love you, man.
That's a fair statement.
You are what I used to be, and I am the opposite now, where you used to be.
Well, I feel like we have transparency. In other words, I feel like
Transparency doesn't do any good if we don't address the issue.
Well, it does. I mean, I know you love sports, so sports is a good analogy. And the reason that you have shifting on the field with the defense is to slow people down. And the reason you have plays is to fake people out. And as you're well aware, in sports, a nanosecond can make a difference between getting around the end or scoring a touchdown or making it. I mean, we're talking nanoseconds, and some degree of misdirection will contribute to that success. And I believe that we're starting to not take the head fake. That doesn't mean it's gone. It doesn't mean that
it's not gone.
Is improved in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying our bullshit buffer is much smaller, and we're less accepting of these head fakes and plays. They're not able to run their plays as reliably as they used to be able to, because we have become less dependable and we're not accommodating them like we used to.
I'll take that as a positive.
Okay.
You reached for that one, but I'll take that as positive. Because nothing has changed.
You look for the light.
Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. CNN is still CNN, which is why I will not watch them. The exposition continues.
I think, has it changed a little bit? I think it's changed a little bit. You know, we got lucky on one thing.
No, it hasn't.
Lucky on one thing. Something that Biden himself couldn't do and nobody on his team could do was somebody called out Bidenomics. And now if you're paying attention, they are tweeting every single day. So before they ran away from Obamacare, remember?
Yep.
But I think that was actually a good idea to embrace Bidenomics.
Whether you think it's a good idea,
inflation's coming down.
Whether you think it's a good idea or not, whether you want to give them credit or not,
it's a new approach.
Whether it's new or old, all of that to me is irrelevant. Here's the only.
To me, it's relevant.
Here's the only freaking thing that matters. Joe Biden.
The only thing, just one.
The only thing.
You're gonna distill.
Joe Biden is doing the job. He is doing the job of POTUS.
Yes, and I think that's becoming a little more visible.
It's been visible.
Not to,
The bubble is the bubble.
it's been arguable. I think it's
The
becoming
bubble
inarguable.
is the bubble.
I saw a chart, yeah, but I saw a chart that showed 13 million jobs created. And it twice exceeds job creation in the first 2 years of any Republican president. So I think people are seeing that. They're just distributed. They're just going out. In other words, they're being much more aggressive about the messaging. I think it's part of being a libtard. A libtard is the kind of person, and I could be accused of being a libtard, which is
Oh, I'm sure I am.
I'm going to make a logical statement, and I'm assuming that you're going to have the intellect to figure it out. And if you don't, then you're a bumpkin, or you're a deplorable, or you're ignorant. The problem is that, particularly with low information voters, we were abandoning the cause at, I'm going to give you a logical, true statement, and you need to figure it out. And I saw this first with the January 6th committee. And apparently they brought in somebody who was actually a television producer. And he materially contributed to the sequence, the pacing, the punch points, the interspersion of
all irrelevant.
interest.
All irrelevant.
No, I think it's relevant. That's what I'm saying. I think it's relevant. You're saying all of these changes either A, don't exist and are irrelevant, or they do exist, you admit that they exist, and they're still irrelevant.
I admit that they exist and they're irrelevant. The only thing that anyone should have been, give you credit for bringing in the producer to make the committee hearings run smoothly. Give you credit for that. The only thing anybody with half a brain should be paying attention to are the facts.
Well, that's the point that I just made. I said, we do this where we put out the facts and we're depending on other people to interpret the facts. When they don't do it, we're looking down our noses at them.
We know they
We're
won't
not
interpret.
achieving any objective.
We
but
know
we
they
feel good about
won't.
it, and that's problematic.
We know they won't interpret the facts because of two reasons. I talked about that this morning on Twitter with respect to somebody I held in great regard, Dr. Cornel West, who has made very controversial statements about Russia and Ukraine and NATO. When you are in the bubble, when you are in the cult, there is no bringing you back. I don't care how you present the facts. I don't care what facts you present. You can't get them out of the bubble. You can't get them out of the cult. They are lost forever.
All right, so let's talk about sympathizers. I'm going to talk about white people. And white people who are
38% of white people.
No, I'm going to talk about all white people. Okay, so
you and I fork in the road on this, but go ahead.
All right. Well, you're going to have people who are standing out in front of Mar-a-Lago, or they're storming the Capitol, or they're showing up in New York, and their numbers are dwindling because they're incarcerated. In the middle, you have what used to be called the silent majority, and the silent majority for white people is just that. They're silent. In other words, they're sympathizers. So the reason that I think it helps to actually push narrative in addition to fact, and not just depend on people to receive the facts and construct the proper narrative, is because this same characteristic of passively just waiting to see what the outcome is, that can be used to our advantage, because we want their passivity to switch from allowing these things to happen to putting some type of negative inertia on. Okay. In other words, at a picnic somewhere, if one white person who previously was like, yeah, I think it's okay what they're doing in Wisconsin with the rules to allow legislatures to set aside the vote. if they went to a picnic in June, they're like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Or they didn't say anything when somebody suggested it was a good idea. Then when they go to a picnic in July, if they're like, I don't think that's a good idea, and I'm going to say something about it. In other words, at the individual level, if you can just have that type of very passive participation within groups where people don't immediately accept stuff or they don't outrightly support it. In other words, maybe the only switch you get from June to July would be when somebody says, yeah, it's a great idea to have the legislature substitute for the popular vote. Instead of where they agreed in June, in July, they would remain silent. And the party who made the statement would then be obligated to figure out, what does the silence mean? In other words, I think this silent majority aspect where you have sympathizers can actually, like a little wave machine or the sands of time through the hourglass, it can actually start to migrate. And you get the same lack of participation and the same lack of energy and the same passive sympathy, but it actually shifts to the other side and starts to put negative inertia on some of the initiatives that the Republican Party has. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's hope so. Eloquently articulated in what you just did, and you know where I am on that articulation. We are well past and well into the fourth quarter. We don't have time for this. We need people to understand what the F is going on right now today. We are past zero barrier on so many things. We don't have time for this self-discovery.
All right, so
our planet,
when you say self-discovery, are you talking about self-discovery for our opponents or self-discovery for our people?
For the silent majority. We don't have time for that.
All right, so then we would have to necessarily interact with and engender change through our people.
Huh? Say that again.
The point you're making stands alone. It's a valid point, which is
we just don't have time
to waste. You said
we don't.
It's like, you know, that the doomsday clock.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, you know,
exhibit A, our planet is cooking.
Right. So it's kind of like on a car, you know how it goes, the odometer. So it goes up to 100,000, but then it starts over. You can go all the way up to 999,000 before it goes back to zero. So it's like when you look at the odometer, everybody's behaving like it's at 99,999, but it's at 790 or 999,000. I mean, it's just so close. But I liked what you said, and I completely agreed with it. But if we're unable to affect any change in our opponents, then necessarily from an activist standpoint, this is what I was talking to that woman last night, you're trying to affect change through your own, to the people who do sympathize with you, and they may be passive.
Right, right.
So we're trying to set our own people in motion. And as you know, I've kind of adopted, be the change you want to see in the world, semicolon, be the majority, which is literally, I mean, the only way to do that would be to get our people to manifest as the majority, reliably.
I just need them to vote. That's what I need them to do. I need them to get off their ass and vote. I need them to get off their ass and take stock in something other than the general national election. Take stock in your local government. Take stock in your local representation. Understand who you are sending to your state capital to represent you. Understand who you are electing to run your water district, your utilities district, your school district. Understand who the heck you are electing to represent you.
Well, I talk about the silent majority because I are one. And I can tell you that I have been voting in local elections. This event I described was a local election. And I've been doing it for decades, and probably once every third time, I'll be approached by somebody asking if I want to help the local Democratic Party. And I have said no up until this
Yeah, I
last,
ain't helping nobody. I'm too old.
no, this last time I actually signed up.
I'm not helping anybody. I'm too old.
So, if I was a good person, I would have been doing it all along. But everything is kind of elevated now, and even I am going to actively participate in something. I don't know what
Good for
I'll
you.
do.
Good for you.
Maybe I'll canvas or something like that.
Good for you.
Well, but the important part is that I haven't been doing anything. Now I've been voting Democrat, so I've been doing that.
That's the most important thing.
Thank God. So I have a little bit of.
That's the most important thing. Everything else is secondary to that.
All righty. Well, so you did say that you thought there were some changes afoot in terms of exposition and transparency. In other words, we are seeing these things, but you're saying you're concerned that it's not really producing a result. And that is open to discussion. It could be.
No, that's not open to
It
discussion.
could be
I'm
like
looking,
continents. Continents apparently are moving all the time, but you
I'm
can't.
looking at a tweet from Sophia A. Nelson, who used to be a Republican. And her tweet is, wow, that's her tweet. And it's in reference to Representative Jim McGovern's tweet, who said also, wow, Republicans are just openly calling my colleagues colored people on the House floor now.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. They've run out of runway, and now they're getting to the permanent white majority part where they're completely transparent and you can see it. So can I ask you a favor? Can we drill down on this?
Sure.
I mean, you're a colored person, so I'm sure it makes you fucking
A
pissy.
black person, yes, yes.
But can you put that tweet on?
Sure.
Because this is kind of, in an imperfect world, this is basically the positivity that I've been hoping for.
But it's not, to me, it's not positive.
They would be
because
exposed, they would be revealed, and once they're revealed, we would be able to deal with them. Okay, so.
Actually, hold on. Because
Okay,
it has video to it. So let me redo. There's Sophia Nelson, who just published a book, by the way.
okay. You said she used to be a Republican?
She was a Republican. She left them. And I just, wow. And there it is. They've never hidden their racism, but whatever. Hold on.
Turn the sound on.
Arizona.
Well, Mr. Chairman, though that was unbelievably inspiring, my amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve, okay? It has nothing to do with color of your skin, any of that stuff. What we want to preserve and maintain is the fact that our military does not become a social experiment. We want the best of the best. We want to have standards that guide who's in what unit, what they do. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, they are not doing this because they want the strongest military possible. I hope my colleagues on the other side can understand what we're doing. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, asking to be recognized to have the words colored people.
For what purposes does the gentlelady seek recognition?
I'd like to be recognized to have the words colored people stricken from the record. I find it offensive and very inappropriate.
Is the gentlelady asking for unanimous consent to take down the words?
I am asking for unanimous consent to take down the words of referring to me or any of my colleagues as colored people.
For what purposes, the gentleman from Arizona?
Can I amend my comments to people of color?
The gentleman wishes to amend his comments. Is the gentleman asking consent?
Mr. Speaker, to have the word stricken. I didn't ask for an amendment.
Is there unanimous consent to have the words stricken? Without objection, so ordered.
Why are we even having that discussion
What, okay, which discussion?
about the use of the term colored people? We're
Oh
in
my God, I was
2023.
afraid. Oh my God, I was afraid. You know, it's weird.
We're in
I wanted to
2023.
do it. I needed to create a scaffold to get to the point where the focus was in the wrong place. Is that what you're saying?
We're in 2023. And a representative of the House has to request that that term be removed from the record of the House of Representatives procedure.
All right, so this is dicey for me. I got to be a little careful here. Because,
It's not dicey. It's not dicey.
well, no, it's dicey because
I haven't heard anyone refer to black people as colored people since 1960. And we're in 2023.
if
and
you
we're
take
trying
the
to have this.
construction of his sentence and you put black people, people of color, colored people, the issue was not the fact that he used the word. There's a
Yes,
word
it
that was,
was. Yes,
there's a
it
word that is used and people always go off on it. It's
Let me
niggardly.
help you, my
If you say
friend.
somebody is
Let
niggardly,
me
it means they're cheap.
let me help you, my friend. The
Okay.
issue is the use of that term.
No, yes, you're correct. But the larger reveal, the
There-
larger transparency is the racism that
Yes,
he is saying, I am a racist. All of my points
Yes.
are based on my, yes,
yes,
that's the message in that.
of course.
So I'm
To
not saying that
Sophia's point,
Joyce, the representative, my heart goes out to her in the sense that she's confronted with this fucking horse shit and she's trying to deflect it, reduce it. In other words,
no, she's meeting it head on.
right.
She's
But
meeting
here's
it head
okay.
on.
Here's how a white dude would meet that head on.
A white dude can't meet that head on.
Let's
because
say
it's
that a
not
white,
relative
no,
to
a white dude like me could stand up and let's say I got in front of Joyce, right?
right.
So I'm like, that guy's name was Eli. I'd be like, Eli, you do not deserve to participate in a democracy. By your words, you reveal
Yep.
that you feel as a white person, you are entitled to govern. You are entitled to dictate, and you are entitled to decide. In your mind, you don't need a majority. You just need like-minded individuals to be in positions of authority.
Which there are plenty.
And
in
your
Arizona.
representation that the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Iranians aren't wasting their time concerning themselves with removing denigrating names from their bases. Are you citing that as a net advantage? Are you citing that
He
as
is. He is.
character? Are you
No.
citing that as something to aspire to? If we teach history, would you want people to recognize that in these authoritarian regimes, these are the kinds of things that they don't do, and that's a good model for us? You are transparent. I see through you. I understand that you were elected by your district. I understand that you are here to represent the people in your district. And I want to thank you for your incredible transparency, you racist individual.
That's what he is.
Thank you for
Those are
telling us
all
exactly how you feel.
Those are all sub-level discussions to the bigger issue problem that he felt comfortable enough in 2023 to use that term on the floor of the House of Representatives.
Right. And a person of color is going to be offended and they're going to
Yes.
react to those words.
Yes.
As a white person, I'm not personally insulted. So I see the sentence structure differently. I see it as I am putting people of color below me in every respect. Decision,
Understand
the
that,
basis,
understand that.
and that's what I see, because I'm not immediately insulted.
Under, people of color are, and you
Right,
know
but
that they
There
are.
was, what you said is so true. There's so much going on, and I'm actually talking about some of the other aspects of
And all secondary to the fact that he felt comfortable enough to use a racist term on the House floor in that moment.
All right, see, if we have a disagreement, we both agree overall, but to me, that's not the primary concern, because
No,
he's
that is the
saying those
primary
things
concern.
at barbecues, he's
Let-
saying it in his living room,
That
he's saying
is
it
the-
with his friends. The
Yeah,
fact that he said it on
saying
the
it-
House floor
saying-
is a positive, because he exposes and reveals himself. And that's what I'm saying. We need exposition. I know you're reacting to I don't think his use of the word color people is a negative. It is how he feels.
And
We need to know how he feels.
he should not have a position in the House of Representatives then.
He should not, but his district sent him there because it's chock-a-block
Be-
with people like that.
Yes, yes,
So-
yes. And
So
again,
we've
the
already
larger,
mutually agreed that
the
you
lar-
cannot convert those people. You just want to have fewer of them by ensuring that we keep the laws on the books, that we keep our democratic
yes,
institutions,
yes,
that we mitigate
yes.
all the damage they're trying
But
to
this is who they are.
gerrymander themselves to part of a majority, but not the entire majority.
This is who they are. Again, high
All right.
level, bigger picture.
We're coalescing.
We're in 2023, and this is acceptable in his mind.
In his
Whe-
mind,
Whether acceptable or not in his mind, he is comfortable using that term. I don't give a shit if you use it at your barbecue, your backyard, your garage. I don't
now
care.
why is
about
that different? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not actually understanding.
Because you have a sworn oath and obligation and duty to serve all, not just white people.
But he's okay. I don't think that's the oath. I think the oath is to represent his district, or the concern is representing his district. If he is
He
representative,
was voted to
you're saying,
represent.
you're saying it's not a problem if he says it in private, but it's only a problem if I hear it. And I'm saying it should be universal, and it's.
No. It is universal. It is a problem, but the bigger problem and the bigger issue.
But to me, it's not a problem that he says it, because that's the way he feels. He's allowed to feel that way. We just need to keep them from getting power. That's all.
Yes, agreed.
But I'm not judging him. He is a white racist. He's a white supremacist. They exist. He is one of them.
Yes.
And I really appreciate him coming and saying, I'm raising my hand up there on the board where it says white supremacists that you need to actually work diligently to suppress. Put me on that board. I revealed myself, and I'm saying that's positive. I don't want this closet racism. I want, if my people are so fucking proud. No, this is a challenge I would issue to my own people. I'd be like, if you're so fucking proud of your superiority, then why do you have so much trouble saying, I'm white, you're not, I'm better than you? Why don't they do that? Why don't they say, this is how I feel, and I'm so confident about it that I'll say it in private and I'll say it in public? But no, they're like,
No, they won't.
We're decent human beings. We want best thing for everybody. I want them to reveal. That's why I'm so gung-ho on exposition. And I'm so gung-ho on us calling them out the minute they arrive on the scene.
But exposition without remediation does what?
Remediation is be the change you want to see in the world, be the majority. If they're not exposing themselves,
Then we don't know.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to guess anybody who happened to be watching the local news and saw that exchange, people of color, out of, I don't know how many are going to be in his district. Maybe there are only 4,300.
It's Arizona.
And last time, 863 of them voted. I want that to produce this result. The next time I want 1,500 people of color to vote in his district, even though they're still going to lose. That's why exposition is so important.
Agreed.
While you're sitting on your couch, you are finding out that your representative hates you. He disrespects you.
Yes.
He thinks you are a subhuman species, and he doesn't think you should have any rights at all.
Yes. Not only
That's
with
not motivating. I don't know what is. And the only way to get that motivation is to have the exposition, to
Not-
see fuckers
not-
reveal themselves.
not only with respect to race, he doesn't care about military as a whole, regardless of your race. Katie Porter did this brilliantly yesterday on the House floor with her, and there's video that went viral on social media. Katie Porter, known for her whiteboards, had a board where she played Jeopardy. This video is masterful. You'll find it.
Can I
I'll
ask you a
send it to you.
favor?
Yeah.
So we were just talking about a state legislature. I'm embarrassed. I don't remember what the state was.
Missouri, I think it was.
Okay, so one of the red states, obviously.
Obviously.
And we were talking about all the different aspects of that sequence of events. Where
Yes.
are we going now? In other words, if you take us out to Katie Porter, which aspect of the dialogue we're currently having are you expanding on, or are we going to a different?
We're expanding on, because the exposition in that video that we watched from Sophia Nelson's tweet was with respect in regards to racism,
Yes, sir.
with the use of the term colored people.
Colored people.
And you did a good job of tying that to, if I'm in your district and I'm a person of color, I now understand who's representing me, even if I'm in the military. And I'm saying it goes beyond race. And Katie Porter did a masterful job of calling that out in her time on the floor yesterday. And that video, I will find the link to you because it's all out there.
Go ahead and find it. Take your time.
Where she played Jeopardy. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up, man.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
We're
I mean,
we're
We don't have
going
any
over.
viewers and we don't have any time constraints.
We're
today.
going over. Well, we might have one or two still. Katie Porter, because it was a
So
here it is.
Is it a
Here
form
it
of
is.
exposition? Is it a form of,
Yes.
is it
yes.
somebody who's a progressive Democrat going beyond insulting their integrity and just fucking insulting every aspect of their existence?
Pretty much.
It's like,
Pretty much.
we get that you think you're superior, but we're not going to stand for it. That's really all it has to be. And quit
Strikes
arguing
the-
about what they think or what they're pretending to
Hold
think.
on. Let me get it. Let me get you. And here's the. Oh, I got share sound on. Good.
You know, I'd be okay with white supremacists if they would just fucking do it on their own time. Like if they weren't trying to take
They'll
over.
never do that. They'll never do that. Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Come on.
Mr. Tenaglia,
Enablers for 300.
pardon me,
Enablers for 300.
enablers for 300. Individuals who get rich while pushing to overspend our tax.
Hold on, because she's already revealed some spots on her board. I want to go back and grab the beginning of it. My fault.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
My fault. Hold on. Give me, dang it. Give me a moment here.
Well, we were.
Here we
arguing
go.
about this.
Here's
You
the one.
said-
Here's
you
the
said
one.
McConnell was unsuccessful, and I argued he was very successful. He's made he
Here-
and his wife a lot of money.
Here is the one. I've got it. Apologies. Rookie move there. Apologies. I'm on it now.
Ah, good.
There we go.
Leave it small. It's okay. Well, no, actually, you're right. Make it big.
Come on. Here we go. Be nice. Play nice in the sandbox.
Let's get started, Mr. Tenaglia. Enablers for 100. A president who called how much we spend on defense crazy, but let defense spending grow by over 100 billion in one term.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Really? You don't know who called the defense budget crazy? Who is Donald Trump? Mr. Mansfield.
Enablers for 200.
Enablers for 200. A member of Senate leadership who recently said funding the Pentagon at $886 billion would mean defense is radically underfunded?
I don't know the answer.
Who is Mitch McConnell? Mr. Khan, you can easily be the winner here.
I'll take waste for 300.
Great choice. Waste for 300. Ineffective DoD assets that cost about $600 million to build and are now being decommissioned before the end of their useful life.
I'm drawing a blank there. Sorry.
What are littoral combat ships? You're familiar with this program. Mr. Tenaglia.
Enablers for 300.
Pardon me?
Enablers for 300.
Enablers for 300. Individuals who get rich while pushing to overspend our tax dollars.
I don't know.
Who are defense lobbyists? Mr. Mansfield.
Waste for 200.
Waste for 200. I'm really counting on you here, Mr. Mansfield. A program that is $183 billion over budget and 10 years behind schedule.
F-35.
What is the Joint Strike Fighter program?
What is the what?
Is it the Joint Strike Fighter program?
What? That's correct. What is the F-35 program? Correct. Mr. Khan.
Missing guardrails for 200.
Missing guardrails for 200. The institution that has authorized more defense spending than the president requested for the current fiscal year.
The Senate. Well, the House of Representatives.
Who has authorized more defense spending than the president requested for this current 2023 fiscal year?
I would say it's the Armed Services Committee.
We'll give you that. Who is Congress? Mr. Tenaglia, I'd really love to see you get one right here. I'm rooting for you.
Missing guardrails for 100.
Missing guardrails for 100. This one I think you're going to know. A review that every agency has passed except the DoD.
What is an audit?
What is an audit? Correct. Mr. Mansfield.
We'll go with missing guide rails for 300.
Missing guardrails for 300. This is a really good one. The percentage of DoD's assets that it cannot account for.
61%.
40.
61%.
What is 61%?
Huh?
What is 61%?
What is 61%? So I read the question wrong. The percentage of DoD assets that it can account for is 39%. You're right. Cannot account for 61%. Can account for 39. All right, Mr. Khan.
Is that double jeopardy? I'll
Yes.
take 100.
This is it. Waste for 100. DoD assets that have been lost, damaged, or destroyed to the tune of millions of dollars based on a May GAO report. What are spare aircraft parts? We're out of time for Jeopardy DoD, and the winner here today should be the American people. Because no matter who uncovers the most waste, the important thing is that we provide long overdue oversight to the taxpayers.
Amen to that, Katie
All right,
Porter.
so you may recall that.
Amen to that.
Yeah, amen to that. I feel like we switched away from racism, but that's a separate issue.
Well, because it clearly illustrates that they don't care about the military when they claim to be patriots.
It's just another, it's just another example.
Yes.
But you just did something that helped me because I was actually celebrating that somebody came up with the term Bidenomics and then the Biden White House started using it, even though it's just a catchy phrase like Obamacare, which they ran from. Now, I also said January 6th was the first time we saw Democrats actually putting some production values into things. And then I also made the statement that libtards, us, have a tendency to say, I'm going to give you facts and I'm going to expect you to figure it out. Well, she didn't do that. She actually brought some showmanship. So there were facts, but it was very hard to just ignore the facts or draw your own conclusions. She told you what she was going to tell you. She then told you, and then she told you what you'd been told, and you didn't have to actually figure out what the facts were yourself. And you could say, well, that was childish pretending to do a Jeopardy game. And it's like, no, that was motherfucking effective. Because people are
Brilliant.
busy.
It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. If you're saying that if it helps somebody to understand something, to do it like that, and they can't just conjure all these connections up out of thin air based on
False narrative-
facts that
false
they're less
narratives.
intelligent, well, that makes me a dumbass because I really enjoyed it. You noticed I knew one, and I kind of knew the other, but I got it backwards. It was the
Oh, the
last one. I
39
said
the 39
40%, and it was they can only find 40%. I was
Right.
saying they had lost
30,
40%.
39 versus 61. Right.
So I was at 1.5 out of 9, and I consider myself reasonably well informed. After that, I could do 9
9. All
because I
9.
saw them. She showed them to me.
Yeah.
So this is why I think this is an improvement, and we could really benefit. In other words, what Katie Porter is doing, what you're saying we're running out of fucking runway. It's taking too long, and she's like, this is taking too long. I'm gonna
Right.
go ahead and
Right.
play Jeopardy.
I
And it worked.
need the American people and I need my constituents to understand why oversight is so important, that we are letting them go unchecked, but we've always let DOD
Well, the
go
Democrats do
unchecked.
that as well. It's not.
Yes, they do.
exclusive to
Yes,
Republicans.
they do. Yes, they do.
In fact, the Republicans are saying the Democrats are spending too much vis-a-vis Ukraine.
Right.
So everybody's in there.
Everybody's in there. Correct. Masterclass job on Katie Porter's behalf.
You know what? Can I ask you a favor?
Sure.
I know we talk about this sometimes. This has really been a good discussion. Can you take us out on this?
Sure.
And I think we'll come in at slightly under an
It's
hour.
Friday. I'm ready to start my weekend.
All right. I think we'll come in at slightly under an hour. I
got-
really enjoyed that sequence.
I got birthday celebrations all around me. Shout out to, I had mentioned this yesterday, shout out for tomorrow to Clifford Ray Newman of Northeast Washington, D.C. Clifford Ray Newman and I met 59 years ago this year in kindergarten, and our birthdays are a week apart. He is my oldest, closest friend. Love him dearly, love him to death. There's so much I could go. There's so many different places I could go with Cliff. I love him. He's like a brother. So happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to my better half's best friend, Dave Barton. Shout out, Dave. I know you're out there somewhere. Happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to, I'm doing the birthday shout outs as we close out, obviously.
It's Friday.
happy belated birthday to Mama Kathy, who is Kimberly Jean Lunsford's mom. Kimberly Jean is I call her affectionately my dance partner for life. We met almost 30 years ago now at a dance club in Seattle, and been best of friends ever since. Her mom loves me because I always give her birthday wishes, both of them, and just genuinely care and love them. And her birthday was this week, so I want to give a shout out to her. I'm excited we're at the weekend. Great show today. Great discussion. Really good. Thank you for allowing me to bring in the Katie Porter video, because I think it's important for people to understand why we brought that video in.
Well, thank you for letting me.
Because if we took a
rambling point and
fraction,
understanding it.
if we took something that I've been vocal about this week, and we'll pick up on another episode, if we took a fraction of the money that is being wasted and reallocated it towards addressing our homeless issue, maybe we wouldn't have the homeless issue that we have.
All right,
Just
bring that up.
spitballing and a thought there. But great show, great time, great discussion. Always great to see you. You know where we are: Twitter, YouTube, Spoutable. Like us, love us, hate us, tell us, and please, most of all, subscribe to us. It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure. Been a pleasure, my friend. We'll catch you on the flip.
Have a great weekend.
You as well, my friend. Cheers.